Today we're going to try Papa John's new Crispy Parm Pizza, which, as the name goes, there's crispy Parmesan on the bottom. And all their advertising is like, hey, flip it over, there's crispy Parmesan. Yeah, that's correct. Now, I'm not sure how much of a real innovation this is. It feels like we're getting to the point with pizza where they're really just throwing anything they can at the wall to try and make it stick. And so they said, you know what, let's just put cheese on the bottom and crisp it up. People will love it, which they might. And that by people, I mean me, because who doesn't like extra cheese? And it's not just Parmesan, it's a mix of Parmesan and Romano, according to the website. And it's a one topping for $12.99 right now if you're like a member of the Papa John's app. But there's no like membership, you just sign up. So if you have an account on the Papa John's app, you can order it now. If you don't, you got to wait like 2 or 3 days till February 2nd, I think, to get it. So we'll see how good it is. We'll see if it's worth making a Papa John account in a second. First, I got my Pepsi here. And this is a pro tip that I just dawned on me today, and I never thought about it before, but it makes total sense. When it's cold outside, depending on where you are, I'm in Texas, it's not cold very often, but there is a couple months where it's generally pretty cold, and we're getting there. When it's cold enough outside, you can just keep a nice 12-pack or 24-pack in the trunk of your car, and it'll always give you a nice cold Pepsi whenever you want it when you're out driving. Oop. So I just have a nice ice-cold Pepsi right here, ready to go, without even having to think about it. And I just noticed that because I went to my trunk and I was like, oh yeah, I left a 15-pack of Pepsi back here. It's cold, so great. Got the tips are flowing in, you know. I'm learning. You learn something new every day. So I got the napkins in the back seat, I got the soda in the trunk, so I'm ready to go anytime I need to, you know, drink a Pepsi and kill myself a little faster. But anyways, let's try this pizza. You can get it, it's one topping, as I said, for $12.99 you get one topping. They also had a deluxe cheese pizza, a deluxe cheese Parmesan crisp pizza option, which I pushed to check out what it was, and it's just Alfredo sauce. There was nothing else like added. So what you're getting is just a cheese pizza with Alfredo sauce. So if you are going to get that one, there's really no reason to. You should add a topping to it. Instead of getting that one, you should just add and customize the regular one, and then put Alfredo sauce if you want it. I mean, Alfredo sauce might be better, but I just went with a regular old pizza, regular sauce, with pepperoni as the topping, because pepperoni's great, and I love it. So you got your usual accoutrement, you got your garlic, you got your peppercini, which I've never seen anybody use, except my dad occasionally will eat them, but he'll just eat it as it is. I've never seen anybody like eat it with the pizza, but whatever. Let's try the Parmesan pizza. I don't know quite what to think. I'm going over it in my head, and it's not, you know, it's great, but it just screams so much of gimmick to me that I feel like I shouldn't give it too high of a review score, even though I think it does work. It adds a nice texture to it. It does add a nice crispiness to the pizza that's not normally there with the Papa John's pizza. But then again, I don't normally get thin crust Papa John's pizza, which is what this is. It's thin crust, not regular crust. And I go back and forth depending on the location of whether I like thin crust or regular crust. But I can't say I've really had Papa John's thin crust often enough to necessarily say if the crunch is coming from that or the Parmesan. But I think it's the Parmesan that's making the nice crunch and texture variation between the top of the pizza and the bottom, which is great. And I like the Parmesan-Romano taste. I'm a big fan of the kind of, it's almost burnt. It's almost like burnt cheese on the bottom, but I love burnt cheese. Burnt cheese is always the best part of every, I guess, Italian dish. Like if you're making lasagna, you want the edges with the burnt cheese. That's the good stuff, as far as I'm concerned. So I appreciate it in that respect, but I don't feel like it's really adding too much over just a regular pepperoni thin crust pizza. It's a nice taste. It's a nice texture, but I don't think it really differentiates itself enough for me to want to reward it, if that makes sense, which, you know, I'm just a random guy, but I feel like I don't want to give, I want to give it a 5. I think it's great, but I think I'm going to give it a 4 solely for the reason that if I was going to get Papa John's again, like if I was going to go to Papa John's tomorrow, I wouldn't get this pizza. I would probably just get a stuffed crust pizza because I like Papa John's stuffed crust, and stuffed crust has stuck around. Papa John's, you know, they introduce new stuff all the time. They take it on and off. That's cool. Keep me in business. But the stuffed crust has stuck around for quite a while now, and they haven't taken it off the menu. And I have a feeling they probably won't, or if they do, it'll be a while from now, because people like stuffed crust. When Pizza Hut, you know, invented the stuffed crust pizza way back in the day, they hit on something that people really like, and it's a nice experience. It's a nice addition to pizza that people will pay for, you know, besides toppings and stuff like that, because there's only so many places you can go with pizza, as I said, which is why they're trying this Parmesan crust on the bottom. But compared to stuffed crust, this is like nothing, you know. It's I wouldn't call it an innovation. That's what I'm saying. Like, stuffed crust is like an innovation in pizza. It makes a whole new pizza category, so to speak, which Papa John's copied. But this does not. I don't know if anybody else will do this, because while it does work, it's just not that exciting. It's just not that, you know, interesting. It's not specifically that tasty or new, compared to what stuffed crust was. Now stuffed crust is a staple, and it's pretty much a staple at Papa John's now, and that's what I would prefer over this one, because I just love stuffed crust, and that's where I want to get my cheesiness from, is from the stuffed crust. This addition of cheese, while nice, doesn't really hit that urge. It doesn't scratch that itch. So you know, it's a good pizza. It's a solid pizza. I think Papa John's makes good pizzas in general. I haven't really had a bad pizza from Papa John's personally. I think they're usually pretty quality, and I love the sauce that they give you for free. That's fantastic. But this one is just, it's kind of like a swing and a miss. It's not bad, but it's just not that worthy of an addition. So if people want to try it, you know, go ahead. It's going to be a good pizza, but I really don't think it's going to excite anybody. I don't think anybody's going to be super happy about this pizza necessarily, compared to something like stuffed crust. Like I said, if I'm going back to Papa John's, I'll get a stuffed crust over this any day. So you got to take that into account. So Papa John's Crispy Parm Pizza. You tried Papa John's. I appreciate it. I appreciate the new items you put out. Keep doing it. Keep trying. But this one's just not a hitter, in my experience, in my opinion. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Again, if you want to go to Papa John's and try it out, if it sounds interesting to you, definitely do it. It's a good pizza. It's a solid pizza. You won't be disappointed necessarily, but you might be, well, disappointed might be actually a good word for it. You might be a little disappointed by, you know, how little it really adds, but you won't be disappointed overall with the taste of the pizza, unless your Papa John's really sucks, in which case, don't listen to me. So that's Papa John's Crispy Parm Pizza, 4 out of 5, and I will see you all next time.